Okay, welcome everyone to my restreaming of my previous episode. So what happened was I already did this last time, I think 2 days ago, but I didn't realize that my feed was cut off at 4 minutes, and yeah, I was just talking to myself for the whole hour, and then I went back and checked and just realized that none of that actually went to YouTube. It's just the first 4 minutes and didn't even get to like the good parts of the stream, which never mind. I had good fun doing it, but yeah, so this time I actually also took a screen recording of this, so that if I screwed up the streaming again, I can at least upload the local file that was saved to my local machine. So yeah, enough about that. Let's go to the topic at hand. So today we'll be looking at Serverless Stack. So it is an alternative to serverless framework, or like it is basically a new framework. I've never heard of it before. I just discovered it recently, so it is a framework for building a serverless app. And so this one is built as an extension to AWS CDK. So that means it is going to only probably be compatible with AWS. So you're gonna have to be stuck with it. Unlike the big player, which is serverless framework. Yeah, all these things are very confusing. So serverless framework allows you to deploy to multiple clouds. You can use Azure, you can use Google Cloud, and you can also use AWS, of course. But I think it's not going to be the case for Serverless Stack, because it's built as an extension of AWS CDK. Yeah, so I have used serverless framework on production applications before. I have my opinions on it, but mostly good, but there are some stuff that I felt like it's a bit annoying that I think Serverless Stack helps in terms of mitigating those issues. We're gonna see that later. So yeah, so it's an alternative to serverless framework. CDK, SAM, all these are basically the ones that you use for building serverless apps. So you deploy code to AWS Lambda, of course. It provides you with constructs that you can use to, use other AWS services. So you can use DynamoDB table, you can use SQS queues, you can use WebSocket, API gateway, of course, and then there's a lot more. I think like there's 7 or 8 constructs, I think, or maybe more. Yeah, like S3 buckets, of course. You can make static sites, yeah, all that. You can use Cognito for authentication as well. So what we're gonna do today is to just introduce some simple REST API endpoints, because this is just me learning. I haven't done much besides the last live streaming. So yeah, we're just gonna do very simple ones to just demonstrate how things are done in Serverless Stack. And I'm also gonna be in the middle, like just comparing it with my experience with the serverless framework, which is kind of the big player now in the serverless apps and ecosystem. So we're gonna introduce one endpoint called docs. It's gonna be a post endpoint. This is going to store a document in DynamoDB. So this is going to demonstrate the function construct. I think it's the API construct and also the table construct. So a table construct creates a DynamoDB table, and then function and also API constructs Lambda that is going to be used by API gateway. And then we're gonna introduce another endpoint to get whatever docs that we have saved with this endpoint. And then we're going to look at just building a simple form using HTML to demonstrate static site construct. So these are all the constructs that are available on Serverless Stack right now, right? So Yeah, so I shared the link to the doc site in the description, so you guys can look at that there. And we're just gonna get started with coding actually. So unlike the previous streaming, I've learned my lesson. So this time I've already created the project beforehand. So previously we were waiting for the yarn install to complete, like for a very long time in that streaming. So this time I learned my lesson, just do it beforehand. So basically you just run this command, just create Serverless Stack, give it your project name, and then say use yarn. Okay, so and then you will get something like this. Okay, so what you want to be looking at is let's just walk through the directory structure that it is going to generate for you. So you're gonna have an index.js that's gonna declare like your runtime. There are a lot more stuff here that you can do, and you're gonna also declare a new stack. So this my stack, what this my stack is basically translated into a CloudFormation stack on AWS. Okay, so this is where you declare all the resources, and you have to refer to the documentation to know what construct you want. So in this case, it automatically generates for you an API gateway with one endpoint called just the root API. It's a get endpoint, and this is your file. So basically, whatever requests that comes to this endpoint will go into this file. It will be processed by this file, and this handler is just a function you export from this file. So just to demonstrate that, so if you go to src lambda, then you can see that there's a function called handler that's being exported here. Okay, so what you want to do next is you want to bring up the live lambda development. This is the cool part about Serverless Stack that I think does stuff better than Serverless Framework. So Serverless Framework, if you want to work on your project locally, you have to set up a lot of things like serverless offline, and if you want to use DynamoDB, you have to set up DynamoDB local, and then if you need a URL that you can use, so basically like a live URL, you probably want to use ngrok or something like that, or you can also deploy it as a dev environment on AWS, but then every time you want to make changes, you will have to redeploy, and that takes time. What live lambda development does in Serverless Stack is a bit more cool. It's a bit more cooler because basically you just run yarn sst start. Okay, so we're gonna do that now. Okay. So I think I'm just gonna create a new window. Come on, what happened? Yeah, I just need to be more patient. So yeah, this streaming thing is taking up my resources, my computer's resources. So it's gonna be a lot slower. I'm also gonna use a Vim because of that, because I don't think I can bring up IntelliJ, which is my go-to IDE. I don't think I can bring up IntelliJ in this in this kind of situation, because it takes a lot of resources, which is crazy because I'm already using like a top-end MacBook Pro, and it's still apparently not enough. So I'm not sure. Maybe I should do something else. I don't know. Yeah, so basically you can run yarn sst start, and what this does is it's going to give you a URL. Oh wait, I need to deploy first, is it? No. No. No, you just run sst starts, and then it is going to deploy a debug stack on your AWS. So if I log into my AWS console right now, right, so it's deploying the debug stack right now. Yeah, I'm just gonna. Yeah, I have a lot of accounts. I'm just gonna use this one. RB is RMS. Okay. Right, I'm logged in, so I can go to my CloudFormation console. And we should see the CloudFormation stack in here. Nope. Oh, I think I'm not on the right region. So I think by default, Serverless Stack deploys this to US East 1, but you can always change it in the settings. So if I go, oh wait, yeah, it is here. It is here actually. Oh no, I changed my region just now. Yeah, so it is deployed by default into US East 1. But you can always change it to something else. So if you go, you go to you go to SST-JSON, and you can see that you can change your staging environment, and you can also change the region to something else that fits your requirement. Yep. So by default, it's going to deploy this in US East 1. It takes a while to deploy the stuff, but oops, sorry about that. So it is going to actually create 3 different stacks. One is the CDK toolkit, one is the debug stack, and then one is the stack that you declared in your project. So yep. So while waiting, we'll just look at, right. So yeah, so what you declare here will be another separate stack, basically. So it's going to create 3 different stacks. Yeah, at this point, we're just gonna be waiting. I should probably have done this beforehand so that we don't have to waste our time looking at it being created. But I guess we can look at how things run as well. I mean, yeah. Right, so I think this is the debug stack already done. So just one more stack, which is our application stack. Yeah, so you can see that it is creating our stack. Dev docs demo. So yeah, it is, the convention is your project name prefixed by your environment and then suffixed by your stack name. Your stack, you can change your stack name to something else. Okay, I don't know what is happening. Okay, yeah, so you can change your stack name here. So this my stack corresponds to this my stack. So you might want to change it when you're working on your project. For this demo purpose, I'm not just gonna bother doing that. Yeah, so it takes some time. Any moment now. Oh, right. So I forgot to mention that you want to configure your AWS credentials properly as well before you run Yarn SSD start. I mean, that's obvious, right? Because like if you don't have your credentials set up, then how does SSD know where to actually deploy your stack? So yeah, it is done. So you can see that it gives you a URL. So this is our API gateway URL, and you can see that if we go here, we will get our hello world response, and this corresponds to what we have in here. So here it says, hello world, your request was received at timestamp. Then you can see that this corresponds here. So the cool thing about SSD that I think they did right is so you can see that I haven't set up anything for my local development, right? But in SSD you actually don't have to, because whatever you type here, so let's say I'm adding a word Afif here, I save, it is going to rebuild my code, and somehow this is going to be reflected on the live URL. So you don't have to redeploy the whole thing. So in serverless framework, I'm not sure if this can be done now, but the last time I stopped, the last time I worked with serverless, I still have to do all this like serverless offline stuff. But in SSD, whenever you do any code changes, it will rebuild your code. It will push this to Lambda. And you can see that this is going to be reflected immediately on the live URL. So you don't have to use ngrok, you don't have to use, you don't have to redeploy your stack, unlike serverless framework. So this is really cool. So you can just give this URL to someone, you can make changes, and then when they refresh you, they will see the changes that you've just made without you having to redeploy your code. So I think this is something that's a really, really strong attraction for SSD. And yeah, so we have this. So now we wanted to try building the two endpoints that we were talking about. So we want to create a post endpoint that the route is docs. Okay, so we're gonna just have to add that here. So post docs, and then we're gonna create docs create handler, and we're gonna have to create that directory as well, .js. Okay, and then we're gonna export. I'm just gonna copy from this. Okay, so I'm just gonna copy this. So you can see that we actually we created a file inside the docs folder called create.js, and then we export a function called handler from that file. Okay, so this is your post request. Let's just say that. Okay, and then we want to also return back the body. So we're just gonna console log event.body. Okay, so you can see that it is going to rebuild the infrastructure. So because we are introducing a new route, so what SSD has to do is it creates a new Lambda on AWS under this CloudFormation stack. So you have to kind of redeploy in this case. But then after you have redeployed and it has created all the Lambda for you, you don't have to redeploy anymore. So whatever changes you make on this handler file, will just be reflected on this new endpoint. Okay, so let's just wait for it to create all the resources again. If we go to AWS again, I don't know why I closed that. I think it's US is one. Oh, typo, sorry. Okay. Create in progress. Okay, any moment now. So you can see that it created a Lambda function and you know, a bunch of other stuff. API gateway, of course, creates a route. Okay, so create complete, update complete. So now we have a new endpoint. So we can test this by curling to this. So I think I have it saved somewhere. I'm not gonna do this now. Oh no, it's okay. So let's just curl. Yeah, that's. So I'm gonna curl. I'm gonna use post to. Oh my god, there's so many colors. I'm not gonna do this now. Okay. So, why now? Okay. Right. So curl. Okay. Curl. Exposed. I'm gonna have to change the URL because that URL is from my live streaming from last time. Which is a different URL now. It's not found. Oh, right, because we didn't specify post. Sorry, docs. Okay, you can see that it's invoking the new URL that we created. And all right, okay, so it tried to console log event.body. This one, as you can see here. But this is actually, I think it's a base 64. So you have to decode that. So let me base 64 decode event body lambda. I had the code before, but I didn't save it. So you know, you never remember this kind of stuff. Always refer back to Stack Overflow and just copy the code. Yeah, that's why Google is there, right? Okay, so let's just do this. My machine is really not giving a cooperation right now. It's really, really slow. I don't know if you can see that from the feed or not. Yeah, I might have to tweak some stuff again. Okay, so you can see that it reads the body into the buffer, just convert it to UTF-8. And we can now console log this. So just event body. Okay, so it will rebuild my code, and once that is done, we can do another curl to this endpoint again. And we should see something here. This is what I pass as the event body, and you can see that reflected here. Okay, so that works, and I'm just gonna commit this, introduce post endpoint. Okay, so what we're gonna do next is we're gonna try to use the table construct. So this was where I stopped my streaming from previously. This time, hopefully, we can continue working on that. Right, so what we need is the table construct. And if you look at this, it gives you a lot of different scenarios that you probably want to use. Like if you want to use Kinesis streams or DynamoDB streams, or yeah, so you can use a bunch of different configurations. So this is something that I think SST does better than serverless framework, because it's just more concise to actually declare your resources like this. In serverless framework, you actually have to copy like a CloudFormation template string into your serverless YAML, and that is not it is kind of tedious to actually work with that. You have to copy like 15-20 lines, and then every time you want to create a new table, you have to do that. And I think this is just a more concise way to actually do stuff. I think nowadays you can use serverless.js file instead of serverless YAML, so you can actually write code to share those declarations better. But yeah, I mean, I think just using code rather than YAML file is just more concise and lets you do a lot more stuff dynamically. So yeah, so let's add this table into our stack. So the way you would do that is just like that. The fields that we're gonna need is just ID. You probably want to have more stuff, but in just this demonstration purpose, probably just ID and author, I guess. Just demonstrate. So we're gonna use primary index. Partition key will be ID, and then the sort key will be author. Okay, so this we will change this to docs. So what we want to do is we want to take this into a variable. So whatever properties that SST creates from this DynamoDB table will be stored in this variable. The reason why we want to do this is because we want to use this in our API. So the reason why is because the table name is not going to be just docs. It is going to be something that's generated by SST. So you want to refer to this table in your code. So if you don't have your table name, then it is impossible to actually refer to your table in your code, because it's dynamically generated, right? So what you want to do is you want to store those information in this, and then you want to push that information in the environment variable of your Lambda handlers. So the way you would do that is, I cannot remember. I have to refer back to the example that they have. GitHub Serverless Stack examples. So they have an example here, Crude API DynamoDB, that you can probably play around, but I'm just gonna yank the code from here because it has what I need. Okay, so my stack. So you can see that they create a new table called notes, and then push it into table variable, and then they use the property here, as I push it into the environment variable. So we're gonna do the same thing. Just copy it here. Table name, so we're just gonna say docs table name. So table dot DynamoDB table dot table name. So this is the property that we want. You can refer to this in the documentation here. So if you need the ARN or if you need the table name, so in this case we need the table name. So yeah, gonna have that. And okay, so that's done. So once we save this, it will again rebuild our infrastructure, because now it needs to create that DynamoDB table. So it will ask us to, oh right, I forgot to import the table. Okay, so just gonna go here, copy that and paste it here. Okay. Right, so I think there's not gonna be any more problem. If that is successful, it will ask us to press enter to rebuild the infrastructure. Then it will start creating all the DynamoDB table. Yeah, so okay, just enter. We have to wait again for it to create the DynamoDB table on that stack. Okay, so in the meantime, we want to be creating, to be writing the code to create a new endpoint, sorry, a new document inside the DynamoDB table. As you can see here, you can probably just refer to this example and you will get exactly the same code as what I'm going to do. So except that I probably have some explanations, but I mean, if you already understand how this works, and you can just refer to the code and just basically don't have to sit through my live stream. Yeah, so we're gonna have to have this. We don't have the UID package yet, so we have to install that. Yeah, we're gonna need this. We don't need main because we already export a handler function. We already did this. We call it event body, so maybe we can call it data here. We're gonna need this DynamoDB. This is redundant now. So this is the params. We're gonna fit this with our requirements. So ID. So this would be UUID V. I think we can use V4. We can say content. We don't need node ID. We are just gonna have body and say data.content, and we don't need created at all. So we also need the author, right? So we're just gonna do that data.author. You can also destructure this, but I mean, it's gonna be the same. Right, so and then yep, so we don't need this anymore. We're just gonna return back the saved item as the response to this API. Okay, so yep, okay, so I can see that the DynamoDB has been created. So we can check our CloudFormation stack, and we can see that we can go resources, and we can see that the DynamoDB has been created. So the name is docs table, and then I think this is the ARN, like part of the ARN, I think. So you can see that even though we specified table, it is not going to, the table name is not going to be just table. I'm sorry, we specified docs. We specified docs, and the final name is not going to be just docs. It's going to be it's going to be docs and then appended with some stuff that SST does it for you. So that's why we need to export the table name as an environment variable to our API so that we can refer back to this. So I think we didn't specify table name as the environment variable. I think we specified something else. Let me check. So we specified it as docs table name. So we're gonna copy that and use it here. So it's gonna be, yep, so like that. So it's gonna rebuild our code, and we can try posting okay. So it is done rebuilding the code, so we can specify the needed fields. We don't need ID because it's always going to be generated from UID. Oh, okay. I haven't installed UID, I think. So I'm just gonna do that. So yarn add UUID. I'm not sure if we have to restart SST start. You know, the development environment, but I think I'm just gonna try not restarting, and then if it doesn't work, then I'm gonna restart. Okay. Okay, so we have installed UUID. So what's gonna happen is we're gonna specify, we're gonna post to that endpoint, passing the body and also the author. The ID will always be automatically generated, and it will store that inside the DynamoDB, and it will return the saved item as a response. So we can take the generated UID, and we're gonna use that in our second endpoint for get. Okay. Right. So I'm gonna try. I'm not sure if I have to restart the server or not, but let's just try. So we're gonna pass body to say this is a new document, and then we're gonna pass the author to be a fifth. So let's see if it works. So you can see that it's already been invoked, and we get an error. I don't know why. Access denied exception. Right, so our Lambda doesn't have the permission to actually do stuff on our DynamoDB. So I probably should see how to give permissions to our API endpoint to be able to do stuff on our DynamoDB. So if I go back to my stack and right, so I think I just need this. That means we have to update our stack again, and we have to wait again. It's okay, we have time. Okay, so we've done that. So it's gonna rebuild our infrastructure. It's gonna ask us to press enter. just gonna enter to redeploy infrastructure. Just gonna wait for it to give permission to my DynamoDB. I'm not sure how long that's gonna take. I don't think it's gonna be as long as creating a DynamoDB table, but you know, let's see. Okay. Okay, update in progress. I should be looking at the event stack, not the resources tab. Okay, seems like it's already done, is it? Update complete? I think so. Oh, okay. Okay, so it's done now. So we're gonna post. We're gonna do another post. So hopefully it works this time. Invoked and come on. Okay, so now it responded. So it successfully created the document. So and it returns us back the. Oh, but I guess our content is actually not saved. I'm not sure. We have to check. So if we go to our DynamoDB, okay, so we're gonna go to our DynamoDB and we're gonna check the document that's created and see if it has all the fields. Did I not specify in my? So yeah, I have body here. I don't think you have to declare all the body, I mean all the fields inside the DynamoDB. I mean, this is not MySQL where you have to have like a structure, but yeah, maybe I have to, I'm not sure. Let's see. So yeah, I think it's this one. So you're gonna go into items. Yep, so I don't think it's saved. Okay, so I'm just gonna set. Huh. I did put body as one of the fields. It's okay, I can try adding that into our fields. So what, does it have to, you have to declare all the fields beforehand? I don't know. It's gonna have to rebuild our infrastructure again. I might be understanding how this works. I might be misunderstanding how this works. But I thought you can actually have. So in DynamoDB, you can actually have different documents have different keys and fields, and except for the ones that you specify as, you know, primary keys or partition keys or like sort keys or global secondary indexes and stuff. So yeah, you can see that it says no infrastructure changes need detected, because by right you don't have to. Yeah, you don't have to actually. Let's console log what is data and see if it's being passed correctly in our post. Okay. So it's gonna rebuild the code, and we can do another post call once that is done. Okay, done rebuilding code. I'm gonna invoke the Lambda again. Let's see. Yep, so we have the body here, but I'm not sure why it's not being saved in the DynamoDB. Yeah. If we refresh this, yep, it's not gonna have the body. Probably gonna skip investigating into that right now, but yeah, I probably am doing something wrong here. But yeah, if you know what's going on, you just point out to me in the chat. Okay, so yeah, we're gonna skip through and just proceed with doing the get endpoint. So we're gonna have get docs, and we're gonna have docs slash how do you specify the query params? So go to API. This is really taking up my resources, like my computer's resources. So I'm not sure if it's the streaming software that I'm using, or is it because I'm also streaming and also screen recording at the same time. But yeah, it is something, definitely something I have to optimize, because it is just not ideal. I don't know what's going on. I can open that. Okay. Is it my internet? Or is it my machine? Okay, so yeah, this is what we want. We want to know what's like how to actually use that parameter in the routes. Okay, so we're gonna have to say ID here. Okay, save that. So it's going to rebuild our infrastructure again because, oh, I forgot to actually do this. Okay, I forgot to create a new file for it. Get. I'm just gonna copy this and create a get.js. Okay, so and then I'm gonna remove all this. Okay, and then just return. Oops. Didn't mean to do that. I want to do oh, just say okay for now. I'm also gonna try to do console.log event. Because I'm not sure how the route parameter is being stored in the event properties. So yep, it is going to ask me to redeploy the infrastructure because it needs to create all the routes, API gateway routes, and also the Lambda handler. So I'm gonna press enter and it asks me to redeploy. Okay, yeah. And then we have to wait again. Just wait for that to end. And then we can do a curl. And this time, I'm gonna copy this ID. And so we don't need the -d anymore because this is not, we're not providing any body to the request. What we want to do instead is append the ID on the URL. Okay, just wait for all the resources to be created. Do we need to attach permissions? Oh yeah, this is done on the whole API gateway, so we don't need to. I mean, when this is created, it's going to have access to the DynamoDB table. Okay, so that's done. And let's try getting our document. Invoked. So we should be seeing OK true. Okay, so you can see that we have the response here, OK true. What we want to see is we want to look at the, so this is raw path. This is a query string. We don't have any query string. Right, so we want the path parameters. So this is what we want here, and just do path parameters.id. Okay, so let's do that. First, we need a code to actually get stuff from DynamoDB. I'm just gonna copy that again from the example because I don't remember stuff. Right, so we're gonna do this. Error true. I think we can take the whole thing, then just adjust the code to match our stuff. Okay, so I'm just gonna copy everything here. The table name is not on this environment variable, is docs table name. The key is just ID, and then event.pathParameters.id, and then we're gonna query that from DynamoDB, and if there's a result, we're gonna return this. If not, we're gonna return a status code. It says 404 error true. I think we can do a little bit better than that, but we don't care at this point. Yeah, it's just a demonstration. Okay, so I'm gonna save this, and it's going to rebuild my code, and then I can do another get request to see if everything returns correctly. There are some linting errors, so by default, by default, SST will come with linter out of the box, so it's using ESLint. Yeah, but you can always turn that off in the sst.config. Is it sst.config.json? I think I can't remember. Yeah, it's sst.json. It's this one. So you can disable the linter from here. DynamoDB is not defined, so that is not just linting error. That is going to be an error. So let's fix that before we move on to other stuff. So I'm gonna copy the code from create that we had before. Okay, so we get the DynamoDB from here. Okay, so we're gonna copy that here as well. So now we don't need UID. So in the meantime, we just clear that. So we shouldn't have any linting errors anymore. Okay, so done building code. It's not complaining about anything. So if we do this, we should get the whole the document return from DynamoDB. Okay, so we should see nope, lambda timeout. Oh no. Why is it timeout? I'm not sure what happened. Let's go back here. So it specified DynamoDB outside the handler. So I don't think it's gonna be different, but let's see if that's the reason why. I don't think that's gonna be different though. But yeah, let's just try. So rebuilding code. It takes a while to actually rebuild the code. Again, it goes back to my machine's resources being hogged by this streaming. By right, so SST is actually using ESBuild internally. So that is going to be faster than serverless Webpack actually. So in serverless, I've only used serverless Webpack. I'm not sure if there's serverless ESBuild or something like that. But if you use serverless Webpack, it's actually theoretically should be a lot slower than ESBuild. So they both do the same thing, but ESBuild is built with Go, so slightly faster. Wait, maybe it's a lot faster, I'm not sure, but it is faster. I'm not sure what's happening here. Let's just say DynamoDB get return sorry, what is it called? Timeout. Do I also need to specify the sort key? I guess. So let's just try this. Let's just hardcode the author to be a fifth, which is what we specified before. If we need to pass the author as well, then we need to probably pass the author as part of the query string. So if this fixes it, then we have to adjust our code to actually read from the query string as well. Yep, I need to specify the sort key. Okay, so let's do this. Just gonna say event dot. I forgot what was it. So let's do a console log again. So if we are using TypeScript here, I think it can help you with that. So we can just install the types for AWS Lambda, then you can get suggestions on like what the properties of event here. But in this case, we have to console log every time because I can't remember what was the properties under event. Okay, so okay, done building code. So we're gonna do another request and we should see where the query string is. Is it under raw query string? I'm just gonna try passing the author here. So yep, so we can get the query string parameter from here. So we just do just say author. We'll get the author from event.queryString parameters.author, and then we can pass the author here as well. Okay, so I think this time it should work. Yeah, in this case it is kind of silly because we have the ID and we have the author, and then we do a GET request to get back the ID and the author. This is because I'm not sure why, but it's not saving the body here. But if it did save the body, then we get something more meaningful, because we are also gonna get something that we don't have. But right now we're just querying with stuff that we already have to get back the stuff that we already have. Yeah, but let's just demonstrate that all this stuff works. Kind of. Still timing out. Did I not pass this thing correctly? So let's console log author, then do another GET request. Okay, so I'm not sure why the Lambda timed out before, but this time we actually get the right one already. So you can see that we provided the ID and also the author. So the ID we provided from the path parameters, and then the author we pass it from the query string parameters. So, and then we get back the item from DynamoDB. So if we update stuff on, so let's say we go back to this item, and which one was it? 953. Okay. So if we edit this to have more fields, we go to action, edit. So we're gonna add append a string, say body. This is the body. Save. Oh, I didn't need the double quotes. Okay, never mind. So if you can see that if we do another GET request for this, and we'll get the body in the response. So this is right. So you can see that this is the log, the console log that we didn't remove from here. Sorry, not from there, from here. Okay, and this is the response that we get, and you can see that the body is written here as well. Okay, so it's been almost an hour, I think, or maybe more. So I know that we have one more item, which is the static site that we want to do, but I don't think we can do that right now. We don't have time for that, so I'm probably gonna do another stream to actually do that. So we're gonna stop at this first. So yeah, I mean, this is just playing with Serverless Stack. I hope that you have benefited from this stream, and I'll see you in the next one.